My name is Slave City and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video, and in today's video I wanted to make a quick crafting guide for new and returning players who really can't wrap their heads around it and need some extra help. I'll be doing a real-time walkthrough once we've explained all the details. Before we jump in, be sure to like and subscribe while also catching the action live at twitch.tv/SladeCityan. So be sure to give me a follow and some support over there as well. First, we're going to talk about red border weapons and all of the necessary materials that you need. For example, this Typhon GL5 has a red border. Weapons that drop with a red border can be attuned to receive a specific type of material, resonant element. That's crucial for crafting any craftable weapon in the game. Also, to note, you can keep track of how much resonant element you have in your inventory tab from this thing called the relic tether. It'll tell you how much resonant element you have currently, so you won't have to worry about guessing how much you have or keeping track of the number. Just go to your inventory tab and look here. You make attunement progress by simply using the weapon or having it equipped and completing the activity. You get 300 resonant element for fully attuning the weapon. However, you only get 100 resonant element if you dismantle said red border weapon. This process is for any red border weapon without a pattern to unlock. I'll explain more about patterns later in the video. Continuing with the materials you need, you'll need resonant and ascendant alloy. You can hold 80 resonant alloy max at a time, and your ascendant alloy, you'll need to get one from Rahool each week or play higher tier content to obtain these. Activities such as Master Wellspring, for example. Before we move on to pattern talk, I wanted to briefly talk about mementos that are found in Trials Gambit and Nightfalls, with each having its trackers and shaders at certain levels. Mementos are purely cosmetic, so we won't go into any more detail there. Now, obtain patterns is how you'll be able to craft available weapons. Certain weapons require a certain number of patterns before you can fully craft them. An important note is that you can safely dismantle a red border weapon that has a pattern and still get progress towards fully crafting said weapon. You can find all craftable weapons and the number needed to craft under patterns and catalysts in the Triumphs tab. Now we move on to the walkthrough and wrap things up, and I'll be using empirical evidence to demonstrate. Okay, so now it's time for the walkthrough. Real quick, I want to add that for red border raid weapons, oh my god, that's a tongue twister. There is another material called Harmonic Alloy that can only be dropped or obtained by dismantling red border raid weapons or raid weapons in general. That is another material that is specific to raid weapons only. So you will get those from the King's Fall weapons and the Vow weapons at the making of this video. For Insidious, as you can see, so if I wanted to give myself a new masterwork, I would need Harmonic Alloy to do so because this is a raid weapon. Any weapon that isn't a raid weapon will use Resonant Alloy. Any raid weapon will use Harmonic Alloy. That is a point I also wanted to hit on too. I know my head's kind of in the way, but it definitely says Harmonic Alloy right there. So I wanted to briefly touch on that as well. So let's jump into the walkthrough. Of course, you have your shape to create a new weapon, and then you have your reshape to modify the perks of an existing weapon. So we're going to go into shape and show you how we're going to craft the empirical evidence. We start off, this is how it looks when you begin to craft this singular weapon. Now let me go back briefly. This will show you all of your available weapons that you can shape. Obviously, the ones that are grayed out are the ones that you haven't fully crafted yet, so you don't have the full pattern for that weapon yet. Let's go to empirical evidence. It's going to ask you about the frame first. Of course, I don't have any levels towards it, so I'm going to use the base frame that it gives me. This is where it gets really fun. So as you can see, like the perks are locked. Bungie wants you to use the weapon. I'm going to tell you guys about farming spot at the end of the video, so stick around for that. But see how everything is locked, and everything is level locked. So of course, like you get the better perks or the perks that you want, mainly at later levels. You get the barrels and the mag perks fairly early. It's these perks, the perks that matter, the bread and butter. Of course, you get the better perks later, or it depends on what you want. And of course, as I said, I was going to touch on Ascendant Alloy. You need 1 Ascendant Alloy and 2000 resonant element to enhance your traits. Now, first you have to unlock them. Once they're unlocked, then you can work towards getting that Ascendant Alloy and the resonant element you need to fully craft this to fully craft and enhance this weapon. So of course, let's go through this process. So let's say I want polygonal rifling, and then I want a pendant mag, and let's say, you know, a good starter perk might be Pulse Monitor and Adagio. Okay, this is where the memento goes. You see, mementos provide additional vanity options to shaped weapons and can be obtained from sources such as Trials, Nightfalls, and Gambit. So this is where your memento socket will go once you have it. And again, as I said previously in the explanation, they are purely cosmetic, so it is a choice. Now, once you fully craft the weapon, see, it shows you all of the materials that you will need to craft this weapon initially. That's how the crafting system works for every weapon. You play to unlock more perks, you play to upgrade those perks into play to unlock and fully craft the weapon. Now, I want to quickly show you guys where the patterns and catalysts tab is. It is on your character screen. You go to your character, then you go to the Triumphs tab, and then it's under Patterns and Catalysts. So you can see all of your weapons and how much progress you need to make in order to fully craft said weapon. Fire Fright, for example, oh my god, I need 2 more red border Fire Frights, well, in order for this weapon to be fully crafted. Now, when it comes to reshaping a weapon, let's take my Insidious, for example, and I'll briefly touch on Harmonic Alloy since this is a raid weapon. I already have this weapon shaped. It's level 9. I have the opportunity to get enhanced perks on this thing. What I would do is, if let's say I wanted enhanced adaptive munitions, I'd work for that resonant element, I'd use one of my Ascendant Alloys, and now I simply have enhanced adaptive munition. You know, I go through the process, it says finalize shape, I use all the materials I spent, boom. Quick fix, quick change. As long as you have the mats, you're golden. If you want the most efficient and the most sustainable amount of resonant element, I would highly recommend you attune all of your red borders before dismantling them. Yes, it gives an extra 200 instead of the initial 100 that you get from dismantling it without any attunement progress. So make sure you're attuning your weapons, using your weapons, leveling them up, getting that 300 resonant element, and saving your mats up for the weapons that you really want to use and craft. So that is the crafting system in a nutshell. I hope I was clear in my explanation. There are a lot of materials involved. Alrighty guys, I hope you guys found this guide helpful. If you're new to the game or returning, or you just can't really get your head around the crafting system, I hope this helped. I don't like to take up too much of your time as always. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.